Hey, all you beautiful people. Thank you for joining me again this week on another episode of So You Say You're Married. This week, I wanted to take it a little bit more fun and hit some highlights on some date night ideas and go over some of my favorite dates that Colby and I have had together and hopefully give you some ideas that you and your husband can do together too. So let's jump in. Okay, so as promised, I'm going to tell you about some of my favorite dates with my husband and how they've progressed over the years, how we've changed, how we've evolved in our interests and what we like to do together. So when Colby and I first got together, 8 years ago now, he's the one that's way better at keeping track of anniversaries than me. So we're going to go with 8 years. I'm pretty sure it's been 8 years. Yeah, it's been 8 years. So anyway, when we first got together, we ended up living in North Carolina for a short amount of time, about 8 months or so. And I'll never forget the very first Valentine's Day that we spent together. So, and this was in North Carolina. We were living together. We hadn't even been together 6 months when that Valentine's Day rolled around. And we had just moved. December 31st, actually. We spent New Year's in our new home in North Carolina because Colby had taken a job up there. So our very first Valentine's Day, we had actually just moved in together. We were still getting used to things. And I didn't have a job yet because we moved up there and transferred up because of his job. So I didn't have a job yet. So I was living by myself in this very remote area because his transfer was actually as a park ranger. So it's not like you're in the middle of suburbia or even on the outskirts. We were an hour away from the closest town. It was quite a trek just to go grocery shopping. So it was an adjustment for me. I mean, I've lived in the country my whole life, but I've been able to get into town within 20, 30 minutes and not an hour. And I've also been able to communicate with people that I knew who were close by, and that wasn't a thing. So for Valentine's Day, I digress, but for Valentine's Day, we decided that we were going to treat ourselves because we'd been under a lot of stress, and we were going to go up to Richmond, Virginia. And that was, I guess, a 2-hour drive from where we were living. And we were going to go to the SPCA up in Richmond, Virginia, and Colby was going to get me a puppy for Valentine's Day. And I specifically wanted a black German Shepherd. I was living alone by myself. I wanted something that was going to be loyal and scary. And I'm used to having big dogs my whole life. I'm used to having something that's loyal and scary. And at the time, I actually didn't have a dog. So he was going, and that was weird for me in and of itself because I've always had a dog. So he was going to get me one for Valentine's Day. And they had two at this SPCA. So we get in the car, and Colby, he does a lot better now. But at the time, he didn't. And we were going to plan this entire Saturday around Valentine's Day and picking up this puppy. And he had the whole day planned. He was going to take me out to dinner while we were in Richmond, and we were going to spend some time walking around a park up there. And then, because we both love hiking and being outside, so that was perfect. And then we were going to come home, and we had dinner already planned out, and I had a homemade dessert that I had chilling in the freezer, and he had this whole romantic scene planned out that I didn't know about at the time when we got home. So as we're driving up to Richmond, there's a lot of traffic, and he doesn't do well in a lot of traffic, so it set his mood. He was ill-tempered. He was awful. And we get to the SPCA, and the dogs didn't work out either. They weren't what we thought they were going to be, for one, and two, there just wasn't, how you have to have that connection with an animal to make sure that you want to take them home, that you want them to be in your life forever. And we just didn't have that bond, that connection to try to build off of. So we ended up, he was ill-tempered because of traffic. We had no dog. We're still supposed to be celebrating Valentine's Day together, and so far it was a bust. But I was enjoying myself because it was the first day we had been able to spend together in a couple months that was just us. So I really didn't care what happened. I just wanted to spend time with my boyfriend at the time. And we go and we pick up some sub sandwiches somewhere and go sit at a local park, and we're watching some geese on the water and things. And he is just stewing. He's just stewing. And we actually had just adopted a dog prior to 2 weeks prior to that was his dog. And he was in the car with us because we wanted to introduce him to the dogs at the SPCA. And he sees a goose, a Canadian goose, floating out on the water. And he just launches from the back of the car. It's like his brain shut down. He just launches from the back of the car, hits the windshield, and then bounces back and falls in Colby's lap. And Colby is furious because the sandwich goes everywhere. The drink goes flying. Colby, it was just like one thing after another. And still, I'm laughing. I thought it was funny. Still a fun date because we're spending time together. We're traveling together. Even if things didn't go as planned, we were still experiencing new things together. And to me, that was fun. Then we go to Pocahontas State Park and we're walking around and he makes a comment that, well, this Valentine's Day is just a bust. It's the worst one ever. And maybe we'll have a better one next year. Hoobity waddy. I was having a good time until he said that. And then for some reason, it just hit me wrong. And you got to remember, like I was in my early 20s. I had not quite come around to where I am now as far as self-awareness and thinking and my reactions. So I was pissed. Okay. And I get in the car and I was like, I thought we were having a good time. Even if things didn't go to plan, I thought we were having a good time. But if it's been so terrible for you, let's just go home. I didn't say a word to him all the way on the drive home. Didn't. So this date has already, to get back to the point, this date has already done like this roller coaster effect for both of us. And we get home and I had made a homemade chocolate eclair, chocolate eclair cake. It's like pudding and chocolate icing and graham crackers and it's phenomenal. If you want the recipe, comment me and I'll send it to you. It's so good. But anyway, so I had made that. I didn't want to make dinner at this point. I didn't care. So I just went and got a big bowl of chocolate eclair cake and was sitting on the couch moping and fuming. Well, he goes ahead with his little plan and he puts fake rose petals all down everywhere and he's got candles lit, and he's trying to pull something together for a very romantic evening. And of course, I forgive him, but it was one of my favorite dates that we've ever had because it's A, it's hilarious, but B, because I learned so much off of that date. And I learned that just because things don't go to plan doesn't mean you can't still have a really good time. And the spontaneity of the entire date is what made it so much fun. So that's date one of my favorite dates with my husband. And the key takeaway there, aside from that long story, is to enjoy your time together, make the best of that time together. And if you don't have plans and you want to just take a spontaneous day, do it. If you have an evening free and you didn't have plans for that evening, take a drive, see where you end up, go out to eat, talk to strangers, figure something out that you both can do together. That's a new experience for you that doesn't take a lot of time, money, or effort. You don't need a lot to go on a really good, fun date. You can take a walk around your neighborhood and turn it into a scavenger hunt throughout your neighborhood. Or make up stories about each neighbor. Don't spread rumors. That's not what I mean. But I mean, make up stories about each neighbor and have your own like mystery crime solving episode going on just between the two of you and make it an inside joke. Get creative with things and it makes things so much more fun. So my second favorite date with my husband was probably the first time that we went horseback riding together. And we decided to go to Chickamauga Battlefield, and we took the horses and we spent all day at the battlefield riding, and we had beef jerky and crackers and a couple sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the saddlebags. And we made a full day of it. And it was so much fun because it was relaxing. It was crowded still at the park because Chickamauga Battlefield it's a national park, but it's a heavily visited national park that is based around the Civil War. And so there's a lot of monuments there. There's a lot of history there. People want to come and see this place. So, there's horse trails there, but there's still, you have to watch for hikers and things. But it was still a lot of fun because we really didn't have a lot of interruptions. And I really enjoyed getting to do something with him that wasn't the norm. And horseback riding for most people is not the norm. The fact that we know how to ride and we have our own horses takes it a whole nother level, but you don't have to do that. You can do things like paddle boarding, you can go rent a kayak, rent those electric bicycles that you can go riding around on. Just do something fun that's a fun true blue activity that gets you moving and be able to still have a conversation together. But make sure that it's something you both enjoy. Don't let one person just dominate the activity. It's always good to try something new, but it's also one of those things where you don't want to be totally miserable just because you fully sacrifice something for someone else. That's not a fun date. That's just misery and trying to make someone happy, and it's not going to make anybody happy because they're going to be miserable because you're miserable. So when you plan a date or you decide to do something fun on your dates, make sure that you agree and you compromise on the activity that's going to be at hand. And then lastly, I'll tell you one more. Our last favorite date that we had was actually dinner in, and it wasn't too long ago. And I had found this game online. I forgot the name of it now, but it's a box of cards, and on the cards it has questions to ask your spouse or your significant other to get to know them a little better. And it's perfect for couples who are just now starting to date, or if you've kind of lost track of your marriage and you want to get reintroduced to your spouse, it's perfect for that. But you don't need the game to be able to do it. You can write down all the questions that you want, or you can pull up a list from Google and get questions off of Google to get to know your spouse again, or to reintroduce yourself to your spouse, because it's always good to check in on that. So we did that. We had supper together. We cooked, I think, orange chicken and sat down at the dinner table, and we pulled those cards out. And the questions are something like, if you could go on an adventure anywhere, where would you go? What is your favorite color? What is your biggest dream vacation? Things like that. Just things to reconnect you with your spouse, to get to know them and check in to make sure that when they've changed, they've evolved, or they've experienced something, that you're still on the same page, so you know who each other still are, and you can continue to grow and cater together. And I think that date was a lot of fun, because we sat and we just talked, and we just got to know each other. We knew most of the answers to the questions, but there were some questions in there that we had never asked each other. We honestly hadn't even thought about on either side. So it was perplexing, and it was fun because it made us think outside the box on our own ambition and what we were really looking for out of life. Yeah, it got a little deep. And it was good. It was fun, and it was good, and it was challenging. And I would highly recommend doing an activity like that, something that helps you get to acquaint yourself with your spouse. So I know this is a little different as far as episodes are concerned, but I hope you really, really, really get something out of listening to my stories and then relate them back to yours. Start thinking about ways that you can, branch out, figure out date ideas that would be fun to you. If you've always had a dream or ambition to do something with your spouse and you haven't really approached them about it or asked them about it, do it. The worst they can say is no. But don't answer that question for them. Don't have preconceived notions or jump to conclusions before you give them a chance to answer themselves, because what they may say might surprise you. So go ahead, ask those questions, check in every now and then. If they know that you want to go skydiving and they're like, and then, next year ask and they're, well, by year 3, they may be like, okay, all right, I'll give it a shot. Because people grow, people change. Always, always, always check in. And that goes for date night too. That goes for the fun things too. It's not just for the serious topics that you have to check in with to make sure that you guys are on the right track. It's everything. So if you want to go roller skating, ask them, go roller skating. Ask your husband, hey babe, I want to go roller skating at the adult disco night. And I'd love for you to come with me because I think it would be a lot of fun. If we fall on our butts, it's fine. We're just there to have fun. We're not there to show off. We're not there to compete. We're just there to have a good time. Let's do it. Why not? Let's try it. So look around on Facebook, on your town's event page, and see what things are going on there that you could plan a date night around. Or think about things from your childhood that you used to enjoy that you're not going to break your neck on now. Like, I don't recommend adults hopping on a pogo stick. I've seen those YouTube videos. I've only seen one that was successful. Don't do that. But if you see things from your childhood that you've wanted to experience as an adult, go for it. Like here in Chattanooga, we have the Discovery Museum, and it's for kids, but it's really cool. And I remember going there when I was a kid, and you get to learn about kinetic energy. You get to dig up a dinosaur out of sand because they have a mold of a T-Rex there, and you can play like a little archaeologist. And there's all kinds of things to do there. Well, they had an adult night, and it was 21 and up. They were serving drink stations all throughout, and you got to go in and you got to play in the museum, and you got to experience things. Colby and I had a blast doing that. Our aquarium does something similar, and we have a blast doing that. We hit that one up every single time they do it. And I'm so sad that COVID is here right now because I've missed 2 of them because of that. But it's so much fun. So look those up. Also, there's date night boxes that you can get a hold of online and order date night boxes. So if you're not good at thinking about new things to do, or you're not good at these ideas, then a date night box might be what's for you, because they give you the idea and they give you all the materials you need to make it happen. So I know that was a lot of information in like a short amount of time. And it was a lot of, I feel like it was a little bit of rambling on my part. But again, this one is unscripted and just a little bit of me. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot out of it. If you have date night ideas, leave me a comment and tell me what they are, because I would love to try them. Colby and I are always looking for new things to try. And as much as we try to think outside the box, sometimes we hit a stalemate too, and we have to ask our friends for ideas. So I would love to hear from you guys and what you have done, what you would recommend, and what you want to try. So leave me a comment. Be sure to hit subscribe. And I cannot wait to see you guys again soon. Remember, episodes come out every Wednesday. And be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Instagram for more fun, insightful things. And if you want to be part of my Facebook group where we have more heavier discussions on marriage and relationships, shoot me a DM and I'll be happy to add you. Until next time, talk soon.